Hello and welcome to my channel. My name is Kyla and I am very excited today to show some different craft projects I've been working on lately that are tarot related. To start with though, I want to give a huge shout out to Danny Mystic because a couple of these things are directly inspired by her and I just love her content, and so if you haven't checked out her channel yet, please go do so. It is so fantastic. I just really love her content, and I feel like we're on the very same wavelength with like crafty stuff and like tarot. We both seem to really enjoy it, and so I always find a lot of inspiration in her videos. And I'll start with showing one of the things that I got inspired at from her video, which is this cool cup that I had put this card slinger holographic vinyl on, and this design is actually Danny Mystic. She designed it, and she was showing it in one of her videos or one of the shorts on her channel when she put it on her cup that she had, and I was like, oh my gosh, I absolutely love that. And so I reached out to her and asked if she'd be willing to sell the design, because I have the cup, I have the material, I have the Cricut to cut it, and I'm like, I want to do it too. And so she was like, yeah, sure. So she put the design up on her Etsy account and I was able to buy it, and then I just cut it out on my Cricut, and I had to simplify it a little bit because my cup is a little bit smaller and the design was pretty detailed, but it was easy peasy. Printed it out or cut it out and stuck it on here, and now this is my go-to cup for when I'm sitting here at my desk reading tarot or hanging out doing things, and I absolutely love it. I also have another cup, the same style of cup that I made, that I printed out an image, or I cut out an image of the High Priestess, I think, or Temperance. I did both, but I only put one on a cup, and I think it was Temperance that I put on the cup because that's kind of my favorite card and whatnot, and so it's just in black vinyl, and I took that one to my office, and that's what I like to drink my iced coffee out of when I'm at my office. And I don't have that one here to show, obviously, because it's there, but it turned out really good too, and I really like, you know, having a little bit of bling on my cup. So that was my first Danny inspired project. My other one I'll save for last because that's kind of the big one. But a couple other projects I've done using my Cricut is these little heat transfer vinyls that I just did in white vinyl, and I had these bags probably from a subscription box like the Witch's Moon or something. A lot of times they send crystals or herbs or candles or other things in these bags, and I've just been collecting them for a while, so I just have a stack of them, and I was like, I don't really know what to do with them because I don't really like keep decks in bags as much as I can. Like, I much prefer the original packaging or boxes for decks. But I made this set of rune stones and wanted a little bag to put it in, and then I found this design and printed it out or cut it out on my Cricut and heat transferred, and then I saw this one on Cricut Design Space, which has a bunch of different graphics and stuff, and I really liked it, so I was like, I just want to put it on something. So then I found this black bag and put it on there. But the runes I actually made as well, and they're very simple runes. They're just rocks, like river rocks, and I used a Posca paint pen to draw the runes on them, and then I sealed them. Well, I tried to seal them first with a nail polish that was kind of clear that had some flecks in it, so that's like when you see the little like flecks of kind of glittery things, that's from the nail polish. And it didn't really seal very well. It still seemed tacky after like a day and a half, and so I was like, I don't know if this is like the right thing to use necessarily. So I got out my clear acrylic spray sealer, which I don't like using because it's very stinky, and I did it outside, but it's still like, I just hate it. So but that seemed to seal it very well, and so now that they don't scratch, because otherwise this paint marker would just kind of scratch off really easily. But those are the runes, and then the little rune bag to go with it, and it's just such a cute little set, and I made it all myself. I'm very, very happy with it. So that is that. And then this, like I said, it was just a design I saw and I really liked, and so I was cutting this out. I was like, well, I'm gonna do this one too. And this just holds this like deck that's not a full deck that I got from this Mind Body Spirit way back like early 2000s or mid 2000s maybe, I don't remember. And it was kind of like a subscription box before they had subscription boxes and they would send you stuff every month. And I collected it for a while and then I stopped, and so I don't have all the cards, but I just keep them because I keep thinking I'm going to use them for a craft project and I haven't done it yet. So if you have any ideas, let me know. But so for now, they just live here in this cute little moth bag. So that's another project. Well, one of the last vinyl projects is this jar, which says pick your poison. And this was just kind of an experiment, and I just kind of thought it was funny. So this jar came from the dollar store, and this vinyl actually came from the dollar store as well, which was kind of why I was testing it out to see how well it did compared to like Cricut vinyl or whatever. I'm pretty new to the Cricut and the like vinyl cutting thing. I got my Cricut for my birthday back in October, so I've only had it for, I mean, I guess it's been like 6 months now, or longer, but it's fine. I haven't done a ton with it, at least not a ton of vinyl. I've done more like paper crafting with it, and I use it to like print things off for my Book of Shadows and whatnot. But this is kind of a fun little thing, and so I printed off, I keep a spreadsheet of all my tarot and oracle decks, and so I printed that off onto paper and then cut them all out. Okay, this one's not printed, but this one's written on there. Anything I got like later, or I had a couple spelling errors that I noticed when I was cutting these up, which I think this one I had something spelled wrong on my spreadsheet. And so I just wrote it on a piece of paper. But it has all my tarot decks and oracle decks listed on them. And there's 2 different colors of paper. And I don't know if you can even tell the difference on camera. But there's kind of this like white cream paper, and then it's more of a gray colored paper. So like at least I know like if I'm pulling an oracle or a tarot, so like, oh, I don't know what oracle deck to pair with this tarot deck I'm using, I can just kind of pick out one of these colored pieces of paper. Or if I want, oh, I don't know what tarot deck I should use today, I'm feeling like whatever, I can kind of just pick one at random. So it's kind of why I put pick your poison. It's just kind of like a luck of the draw. You pick what you pick. And then as I've gotten a couple new decks, I've just wrote the name of the deck on the piece of paper and stuck it in there. So that way you can kind of just have a little mystery jar, so you don't know what deck you're going to use. Because I tend to sit here sometimes and be like, oh, I really want to do a tarot reading, but what should I do? What should I use? And I overthink it a little bit sometimes. So this is kind of a fun way of picking a deck where maybe a deck I don't use as much, or a deck that like I haven't thought of for whatever reason. It's just kind of a random, you get what you get kind of a thing, and it's just really fun. So that was another little vinyl craft I did. Like I said, all with dollar store stuff. I did dollar store vinyl and dollar store jar. Next project, that is these tuck boxes I've made. So like I said, I don't really keep decks in bags very often. I tend to like them in boxes. These are just a few I made. This one is for my Roots and Wings Oracle. It's obviously not the best. Like you can see it's kind of tore right here, and then the edges kind of wear really easily because it's just scrapbook paper, or like scrapbook cardstock. So it's really not necessarily made for this, but it's fine. It does the job. And these ones are just white cardstock. They look a little better because they don't wear as much and stuff. And then I took a stamp and stamped the names-ish on them. Obviously I couldn't fit the like full names of these things. These 2 are altar cards. So I just put, you know, these are the goddess altar cards. These are the moon altar cards. And then this is the Hedwig Botanical, which I had the Llewellyn edition, which came in the big like Llewellyn boxes. And then I got it again, and I think it was the Witch's Moon that sent it out. And so I gave the Llewellyn version to my sister and kept the one that came in the Witch's Moon, and it just came in like a bag, so it didn't have the full box, and so I made this little box for it. And that way they sit on a shelf like this. I can see what they are, and they're not just loose cards gonna fling around someplace. Just measured the deck so that they all fit in there really well. They fit nice and snug and exactly the right size. Yeah, this turned out really cool. So those are my little tuck box creations. The last thing, and in my opinion the coolest thing, is my tarot spreads box, which is another inspiration from Danny. She posted a video a while ago now where she had an old recipe box that she converted into a box for spreads, and I absolutely loved that idea. I like immediately went, and I was like, I didn't have an old recipe box, so I immediately went on Amazon, and sure enough I found a just plain wood one, ordered it, and then I started making my kind of recipe cards. And luckily my brother works at a office supply store, and so he was able to buy me the cards that fit in my recipe box, and they're just like a 4x6 index card, and they're blank so that I could do whatever I wanted with them. And then he also picked up some dividers that fit the same size so that I could have all the different sections divided in my recipe box. And I left the recipe box just plain, like I didn't do anything to it for a very long time, and I just kind of started writing some of my cards down and putting them in there. And then a couple months ago, or like about a month ago now, I finally finished putting it together, and I think it turned out great. So here it is. It is, like I said, it was just a plain craft recipe box, and I took some acrylic paint that I watered down and just kind of put on here, kind of like you would a stain. And then I printed or cut out on my Cricut this like 3-card design, and then tarot spreads, and then at the top I did the suit symbols and just stuck those on there. So this is vinyl, and then the rest is just like I said, acrylic paint, and I kept it really simple. It's not overly designed or anything like that. I just wanted something that I could have on my desk, have all the spreads right there, not having to go dig through my binders of printouts or looking on my phone. Did I save it on Pinterest, or did I save it in my notes, or where is it at? It's all kind of in one spot. So anytime I find a cool spread that I like, I try to write it down on a card. And I try not to be so precious with these either. Like, obviously I want them to look nice, but for example on this one, which is a spread I actually got from Danny Mystic, I started writing the word wrong, and then I scribbled it out and just kept writing. And like, normally that kind of stuff would really bother me, and I just really like tried to let go with this and let go of the perfectionism with this, because the usefulness is way more important than how pretty it looks, and for the most part I'm the only one who's seeing it. So on each of the cards I write the title, I kind of draw out what the spread looks like, and then I just write down what all the positions mean, and then I try to give credit if I know where I got this spread from. So this is just a couple of them that I pulled out that I thought were kind of unique and different. So the Roots spread, and then this Luna Soul spread is from the Luna Soul deck, and I just kind of liked, you know, adding a little bit of color to this one. And then this Two Paths spread, I just kind of like how that one turned out too. Kind of a little different, and I try to like not necessarily make them all look the same. I try to kind of go with whatever moves me at the time that I do it. I also like to use these cards to write down, when I do a spread, to write down the cards I got, and then kind of my little interpretation, and then just kind of continue on the back with that. So that is kind of my little tarot recipe card box. I also, when I made this little template thing so that I could draw the cards, and I used my Cricut, this too, and I used one of these manila divider things to cut out this shape. And then that way, I mean, I'm never going to do a 5x5 grid, but depending on what the shape of the spread is that I'm kind of copying, like maybe if it's like 4 down and like a cross or something, I could use these ones, or if it's like over or like that kind of thing. No matter what kind of shape it is, I figured this 5x5 or 5x4, excuse me, shape, I could get pretty much any spread with like just having this in one spot and then drawing in the card positions, which I just think that kind of turned out cool, and I just keep this with it, so when I want to make a new spread I have a little stencil. And then in my little box here I have a bunch of different categories. I made some like index cards at the front with the like different spreads I have, and obviously I don't have a ton, like it's not overly crazy, but I wanted to be able to find spreads pretty quickly, so I put them, wrote them down as I made them. And then the hardest part of this whole project was trying to figure out my spread categories. It took me a while and some like narrowing down on like what I wanted to do, but I ended up with animals and mystical creatures, aspects of time, which I would include like day spreads, month, year, seasons, anything like that, astrology and the zodiac, and these ones I use a lot of Ethany's Tarot by the Moon spreads, and rather than rewrite them, what I did is I just printed all the different pages out and then cut them out and glued them on cards. So I have them all on cards, but I didn't have to take the time to like rewrite the whole thing. So I did that for the whole year. So I have all the whole year's Tarot by the Moon spreads. And then I have business and money, clarity and wisdom, deck bonding, and then any deck specific spreads like that Luna Soul spread, deities and guides, general advice, healing and self-care, love and relationships, past lives, shadow work, spirituality, and then 3-card spreads. And I'm still working on adding spreads. Obviously I don't have a ton in there right now, but I'm hoping this is something that I can like evolve with over time. And then I also have a section for readings, and then tools, which is like where I keep this little stencil at. So that is my tarot recipe box, my tarot spread box, and I love it. I think it's super cool, and I'm really thankful Danny came up with this idea and posted it on her channel, because it is one of my favorite things I have made for my tarot practice, or really in general, just because I think it turned out so neat, and I feel like it's very unique. It's not something you see a lot, but it's so handy when I want to do a spread to just have the one card out that I'm doing. It doesn't take up too much space. It still gives me lots of space to work, because my desk is kind of small, but I can still see clearly like the tarot spread. So that is my crafting with tarot items. I hope you enjoyed. I had a lot of fun making these things. Like I said, I've made them over the last few months, so it's not like anything I did just overnight, but I had a lot of fun with them. And if you have any questions or have any suggestions or ideas, you want to share different crafting ideas with me, I would love to hear them. Just leave me a comment down below, and I will see you with my next video. Thanks. Bye.